Hey everybody, it's Jim. It's Thursday, September 14th, 2017. There have been some recent updates and some crazy news on the DACA front, and I thought that I would shoot a quick video, check in with everybody, see if I could answer some questions, and to give you the latest. There's been some news since President Trump announced his decision to terminate the DACA program 6 months from now. And the biggest news, it's funny, yesterday I posted I posted an article saying that DACA had gone to the bottom of the list of legislative priorities, that the Republicans and President Trump still have their desire to get a tax plan through Congress and to also start funding the emergency money that's needed for Texas and for Florida in light of the hurricanes. And so in the morning yesterday, I had posted that basically DACA and figuring out legislation to protect the Dreamers was sort of at the bottom of the priority list for members of Congress. And then late last night, we got word from Speaker Pelosi, or former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and Senator Chuck Schumer. They both had met with President Trump yesterday, and they came out in sort of an announcement saying that they had reached some kind of an agreement with President Trump to move forward on the protections for the DACA kids. And there's been some confusion during the day back and forth between the president and Senator Schumer and Representative Pelosi about what exactly was quote unquote agreed upon. And as sometimes happens with President Trump, he has been sort of back and forth even just today on where he stands exactly with the DACA kids. It's an interesting thing because he had announced early on that he was going to end DACA right away. He never has until now. He's announced that, he's given the 6-month window, which is more protection than he gave when he put into place the travel ban from the Muslim countries. So it is a little bit of an evolving situation. And so late last night, Pelosi and Schumer say there's a deal. Donald Trump this morning says, no, there's no deal. Then he says, well, there might be a deal. And basically, what they're talking about is some kind of legislation. It sounds like they've reached a broad agreement to come to some kind of resolution for legal protection for these 800,000 young people who came to the United States through no fault of their own and have lived here and been upright members of society ever since. They've graduated from high school. They're contributing in many different ways. And so that seems like the interest in Congress is still on track. There have been a lot of people on both sides of the political aisle, Republicans and Democrats, who've expressed interest in working out a solution for these Dreamers. And so we're heartened by the fact that there has been some good news. Now, there's also been some confusion as to whether or not President Trump's long demanded wall for the Mexican border with the United States would be a prerequisite or requirement. If that had to happen before there would be this DACA reform. But it seems that they've reached an agreement to not tie DACA to the wall. And President Trump has at least expressed some willingness, both himself and through White House spokespeople, to be open to the idea of DACA reform without a wall. So Donald Trump has said that the wall is vital, but at the same time, he's indicated that that might not be required. Now, one of the fun things that happened, just last week, Pelosi and Schumer met with Trump and were able to reach an agreement with the president on the debt ceiling, much to the chagrin of many Republicans. And it looks like they're doing that again, that they've sort of reached across the aisle to President Trump and he to them to try to work something out. I think Donald Trump is still really upset at Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan about the debacle in getting the Affordable Health Care Act repealed. And so we're seeing another instance of President Trump now working with Democrats. And I think it's really a poke in the eye to McConnell and Ryan, who, at least with Paul Ryan, has expressed a willingness to talk about a meaningful solution for these 800,000 young people. But the people on the far right, those who stopped immigration reform 5 or 6 years ago, people like Steve King from Iowa and Breitbart News and Sean Hannity, these people are going crazy with the decision by the president to sort of reach across party lines and talk about this stuff. Steve King tweeted, "Unbelievable. Amnesty is a pardon for immigration law breakers, coupled with a reward of the objective of their crime." That's what Steve King said. Sean Hannity said, "Weak Republicans have betrayed voters. POTUS The president needs to stay the course and keep his promises or it's over. Pelosi and Schumer can never be trusted. So one thing that isn't clear is whether this dream protection is going to include a path to citizenship or if it's just going to give them some kind of temporary status. So we'll see how far Democrats want to push it and how far Republicans are willing to go, whether they're going to just adopt a stopgap measure to continue protecting these young people and giving them work cards and things like that, but this time under a congressional scheme as opposed to an executive order, or if this is going to include a path to citizenship for these young people. And that's why you're really hearing the howling on the far right. Breitbart News referred to Donald Trump today as Amnesty Don. So they're not happy with him, and those who oppose immigration are quick to paint it as an amnesty situation, and it remains unclear as to whether or not this is going to be quote unquote amnesty or if these people are going to be forgiven for the sins or the crimes of their parents of entering the United States without authorization. I'm going to look and see if we have any questions about this, and then I'm going to quickly mention some new developments that we've seen. Something exciting that came out of DACA. It doesn't look like anybody has any pressing questions about DACA and the updates, but there is some good news, and I'm going to read you part of this. The Mission Asset Fund has announced that it will provide $1 million in scholarships to over 2,000 Dreamers to help pay for their DACA renewal. So one of the things with DACA ending on March 5th is that for certain people who have work authorization that's going to expire before March 5th, they are going to be allowed to get a 2-year extension if they file for that extension before October 5th. This has left many DACA beneficiaries sort of scratching their head, well, how am I going to come up with a filing fee, which is $495 for this renewal? Some of these people are not making a lot of money, and $495 is a real hardship. Well, enter the Mission Asset Fund, who's going to provide scholarships of the full $495 to pay for the DACA renewal. And for what it's worth, here at the Hacking Law Practice, if people are having financial problems and aren't going to be able to afford to renew their DACA, we're going to do that for them for free. So we're sort of matching the $495 DACA grant that the Mission Asset Fund is doing. Jose Quinones, who is a MacArthur genius and the CEO of the MAF, said that we were shocked and horrified to learn that President Trump added DACA. They sprang into action to help thousands of Dreamers get the money that they need to pay the filing fees. Half of the money is being targeted to students from California, and the other half will go to people outside of California. Interestingly, they say that they can have the scholarship processed within 1 day and have the checks available for pickup in San Francisco that very same day, or by overnight mail around the country. This is a great organization. They've been giving, in the past, they've given DACA application fees in a loan to people who needed it. And so we're really excited about that. If you want more information, you can visit our website. We'll put an article up about this tomorrow, or you can visit LC4 DACA. That's the letter L, the letter C, the number 4, and then DACA.org and apply immediately. There's some foundations that are helping pay for this, and we really applaud them and are excited about that. So with that good news, we'll end this edition of the DACA update for September 14th, 2017. Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, you can always email us at info@hackinglawpractice.com or give us a call at 314-961-8200. But that's the latest on where things stand as we march towards the October 5th deadline and towards the March 5th apparent end of DACA. Thanks, everybody, and have a good night.